Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a great day. I'm going to take you along with another sharpening here. This little bad boy, the Knafs Lander 4. It's designed by Ben Peterson. It's a nice little fixed blade. This is actually my first and only Knafs knife that I currently have. Of course, it probably won't be my last because these are pretty nice. This is the Knafs Lander 4. It's a fixed blade. Got my Carter scales, a little brass booster bead. I tied the lanyard a little differently, adding a stopper knot. But it's a nice little fixed blade, and it's in 14C 28N steel, Sandvik steel. It's pretty decent, makes a great little EDC. It comes in a little Kydex sheath like this. I put these little soft loop snaps on it to carry it in the scout carry. I'd normally carry it appendix at about 11 o'clock. So it'd be like this for a nice and easy draw. But anyways, we're going to sharpen it up. It needs a new edge on it. Used it quite a bit. I carried this the whole month of February, I think it was, for fixed blade February. And used it as my main EDC blade for all my cutting tasks. I used it for food prep and all that good stuff, and I've since used it for other things, but it needs a new edge, so we're going to put it on the KME. This thing clamped in. There we go. Now I'm going to Sharpie the edge really quick. The bevel width is pretty narrow on this. I don't know if you can see it very well. Anyways, the bevel width is pretty narrow on this here. So I'm assuming it's going to have a decently high angle on it. I'm guessing I'd say over 20 degrees for sure. I'm gonna say 22 or so, just guessing. Let me throw me a stone in there and then we'll set up this stone carrier. And the I'm gonna set up a stop collar. That actually looks pretty good. Yep, that actually looks pretty good. So I'm gonna start at the 21 reference mark. Sight down. I think I need to go up just a little bit. Just a little bit more. Don't look too bad on that side. Not exactly perfect because it's hitting more on the shoulder on this side than it is the other side. It's hitting pretty well here on the front side here, on the logo side. This side it's hitting more towards the shoulder, so that just tells me that the angles are all side to side. Let me see about where we're at using this little angle cube. I'm saying about 22 degrees. Pretty good guess. Pretty good guess. I'm gonna stay here because it's hitting pretty decent, especially up towards the tip of this. So let's re-Sharpie this up. I've got the 100 grit in, so it'll save me a little bit of time on the sharpening. lock my angle down back here. Already tell with this one. This one doesn't have a very pronounced sharpening choil or sharpening notch or anything like that, and the edge terminates basically at the plunge grind. So you're gonna get what we call either the little smile, a little wink here, which it was already dug into back here from factory. It's no big deal, it's just aesthetic. But what I'll probably end up doing with this is putting a choil in myself. Just so I don't have to deal with that, because sometimes it bugs me. Let's see, I'm not really looking for a burr, I'm just kind of seeing if I've got one a little bit. Oh. One of the good things about 14C28N is I think it's a suitable steel for EDC and things like that, because it holds an edge well enough. But yeah, one of the really nice things is it's super easy to sharpen, in my opinion. It actually takes a really nice edge. Got a little bit of a burr in a few places. Sorry about that. Let's see if we can move that just a little bit. Making sure I get a little bit of work on that tip. Try not to dig in too much. On the heel portion back here. I could have taped it, or could have went with like a zip tie back through here a little bit, but yeah, it is what it is. This is a user anyways. Got a little bit of a burr through here, a little bit towards the tip. I don't yet here. I don't yet here. I've got a little bit towards the heel. If I could have just a little bit of like constructive criticism with this here, is having a little different edge termination, either putting a sharpening choil or sharpening notch up here, or having the edge terminate a little further away from the ricasso or the plunge grind back here. That's what I would do from a sharpener standpoint. Of course, I'm not a knife designer, but from a sharpener standpoint, it's really, really nice when you see really good edge termination. And it's not a like deal breaker in a sense. Now I will say for me, for instance though, if it has downright terrible edge termination, I won't buy it. Even if I like the knife, I won't buy it. So let's see, we've got a burr. Got a burr from about here forward. So get that to focus. You can kind of see it a little bit there. Okay. burr here held a tip on this side. And we have a burr held a tip on that side, so we fully burred on both sides. We'll just do a stroke or so to knock that off, and we're just going to go on up and grit. So it's already feeling nice and sticky. That was the 100. And technically, if you wanted to, you could go from 100 to 300 and forego the 140. I normally try to do it because it helps get some of those 100 grit scratches out because they're kind of coarse. Especially you'll want to do that if you're going for a higher polish or a mirror edge. You'll definitely not want to skip over. But if you're going just for sharp, you could skip over. Plus side is going from the 100 to the 140. It's going to make that process actually really fast. We've already got that burr on that first thumb, so we're no longer actively looking for the burr. We'll have one. If you look for that burr, you're gonna end up getting rid of a lot of steel needlessly. Alright, that's looking nice. Just knock that off real quick. We're going up to 300. Don't have to spend a whole lot of time, like I said, especially if you're just going for sharp. Just trying to take my time a little bit on that heel area. Using overhead lights is nice because you can actually see the scratch pattern change while you're sharpening. Now you can always just go back and reapply your Sharpie and all that good stuff. That's a good thing is with sharpening, like, there's not exactly one and only one way to do everything, and everything has to be done in that way. There is a little room for variation. Now there are certain things that there's a right way and a wrong way to do, but then there's, you know, like I said, room for variation. Knock off that burr. Alright, throw that 300 in the sheath there, back in the little sleeve. Go with 600. If you really want a nice and toothy edge, stop at the 300. It works pretty nicely. I like the 600 grit finish because it's kind of like the Goldilocks. It's kind of midline in a sense. I know it's still coarse, and a lot of people consider that like a coarse edge, which I would as well myself. However, it's kind of like a medium finish, in my opinion. And it's toothy enough to where that all the fibrous materials that you might be cutting, like cardboard and like zip ties, especially anything plastic, rope, that sort of thing. The higher you go up in polish, the more that you smooth out those microscopic teeth, and the less it's going to bite into fibrous materials such as those. So I normally stop at about a 600 because it still has a decent amount of tooth, but it's refined enough to where it's not like you're sawing through everything in a sense. And that just seems like, to me, that's the, like I said, the Goldilocks, the just right. Alright, I'm going to do a couple strokes on this side, and we're going to do our finishing strokes. Pull this off. The video is going a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but just hanging out with you guys. You know, nice. This today's Sunday for me. Doing a nice little edge maintenance on Sunday. Sunday's a nice day, in my opinion, between church. I like to do edge maintenance and whatnot because, you know, during the week you get busy. I work 6 days a week with the Postal Service, and it's hard to do things during the week. Let me do one stroke each side. Super light pressure. And I think what I'm gonna strop this time, normally my go-to is 6 micron diamond emulsion after sharpening on a 600 grit edge. But I think this time, let me find my alcohol there, my rubbing alcohol. I'm gonna clean that off before I strop. I'm gonna use 3 micron diamond emulsion. I always like to do this before I strop because it gets all that steel particulate off of the blade so you don't contaminate your strops. So it's nice and sharp. Let me get my strop over here. If you haven't tried a KME yet, you ought to try it because they're a phenomenal system. As well as if you haven't tried their diamond emulsions yet, that's also highly, highly recommended. So let's do a little stropping. A little love towards that tip. A few strokes on this side. Put a love on that tip. It's actually polishing up a little bit nice. I don't know if you can see that gleaming a little bit. Okay. Alright, one more on each side. Really light pressure. We're gonna call that good. Oh, watch not do what I did. Make the tip there a little bit. with the guide rod. I don't think I got it though. Alright, so now we're going to take this out. Okay, let me clean that off. Nice little satin edge. Now, this is what I mean by I really like 14C28N, is it takes a ridiculously sharp edge. Let me get a piece of that same paper. Nice little Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog. Oh yeah. I don't know if the sound or the video is doing it justice. It's almost completely silent. It's me for catching that up. If you can do like S cuts or wavy cuts like that with a knife, you know it's insanely sharp. I figured I'd just take you guys along, show you this little knife. Makes a nice little EDC, throw it in your pocket, wear it on your belt. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, please ask, comment below, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on my other social media like Instagram. It's the same name, Samson Edges. Give me a holler if you got any questions. Hope you guys have a great day, and as always, y'all have a good one.